Hello and welcome to today's video. Today, I want to give you a really quick one looking at a specific angle that we can take to enhance detox to an absurd degree. When I discovered this, it actually felt like a real life cheat code. And I'm going to just blast this information at you in a very digestible way so that you can take all of these insights and apply them into your healing protocol. So the fundamental premise of this concept is that detoxification requires resources. Your body cannot detox if it doesn't have the ingredients that it needs to detox. You can almost think about detox like baking a cake or making any kind of recipe. You can say, oh, I really want to have I don't know, what's your favorite cake? Maybe it's a red velvet. Maybe it's a chocolate brownie. Whatever it is, you're not going to make those if you don't have flour. It's just simply not going to happen. And maybe you have gluten intolerance, so you need to use a gluten-free flour alternative. But whatever it is, you need flour. You're never going to make the cake if you don't have the raw resources or the raw ingredients that you need to make it. And the same thing is true with detox. The angle that a lot of people take is they start doing things to try to make the body do detox processes. So they'll take binders or do coffee enemas or do colonics or even take herbs that help the body to cleanse. But if the body is missing the raw ingredients that it needs to do these detoxification processes, it doesn't utilize these stimulus inputs, the coffee enema, the castor oil pack, the liver gallbladder flush. It doesn't use them very effectively. It's basically like in the back of the bakery, shouting to all the bakers saying, cook me more cakes, make me more bread. And there's no flour. They're not going to do anything. You can shower them as much as you want. They can't do anything because they can't make cakes out of thin air. So the idea in this concept is we can try to figure out what raw ingredients does your body need to actually facilitate detoxification processes. And if we can provide your body with more of these raw resources, it will naturally begin to detox at a faster rate because your body's intelligent and it wants to heal. It's actually detoxifying itself every single second of every single day. And sure, we can use these coffee enemas and fasting and castor oil packs and all these other things to speed up this rate and to help our body to do it. But if we don't have the raw ingredients, it's not going to make that much difference. So to do this, we need to look at what are the most common resources that the body requires to facilitate detoxification reactions. And that's what I'm just going to go through in a very brief list, and I'm going to help you figure out how do we get all these nutrients in a very rapid and very efficient way. So I'm going to throw a bunch of recommendations and suggestions at you. If you have food intolerances or sensitivities to any of the things that I talk about, then don't use them. Go and find an alternative. But you need to figure out a way to make sure your body's getting these resources. So first of all, I'm going to start with the absolute basics and the things that are the most easy to implement. So first, it would be we have to make sure that we're eating a sufficient amount of animal protein. The reason that animal protein is important is it's not just about protein. Protein isn't just about building big muscles and getting strong. Protein is made of amino acids, and amino acids essentially are the same as vitamins. We need these amino acids. They work the same way that vitamins do. I'll give you one specific example. A big part of detoxification is something called glutathione conjugation. This is where the body will take toxins and bind them to glutathione so that they can be escorted out of the body. So we need to be able to make glutathione. To make glutathione, we need three primary things. These are all amino acids. It's glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. These are all amino acids. And all of the amino acids that we need to do all of these detoxification processes, so not just glutathione conjugation, but all of them, methylation, glucuronidation, transsulfuration, all of these different processes that the body uses for detoxification, we get all of the amino acids that we need from animal protein, from animal products, because they have a full broad spectrum complex of different amino acids. It is possible to get these from plant sources, but it's very difficult if you don't know exactly what you're doing. It's so much easier to just eat animal products, and animal products also tend to be much more easily digested and absorbed. So we're avoiding all of these like digestive issues that can complicate, so like malabsorption or anti-nutrients, protein bioavailability. We just bypass all of these potential problems that you could be facing. So we want to be aiming for at least 30 grams of animal protein 3 times per day. This is just the bare minimum that your body needs just for optimal metabolic function. If you're doing like heavy weightlifting or you're doing bodybuilding or training anything, if you're doing athlete or intensive sports, if you're doing endurance, you need more. But we just need this 30 grams 3 times a day just for basic metabolic function, just to provide your body with the amino acids that it needs from a nutritional perspective to facilitate these detox processes. So animal products are the best way to do it. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be beef, it can be chicken, it can be lamb, it can even be dairy. So dairy is actually quite good because it's very high in cysteine. It's the highest dietary source of cysteine. So dairy is awesome. This can be eggs. It can be fish. It really doesn't matter. But if it comes from an animal, it has a full amino acid profile. Next, we want to look at vitamins. Broadly speaking, B complex vitamins are probably the most important for detox, and that's also because there's a lot of them. The best source of B complex vitamins is, surprise, surprise, animal product. There are also other ways that we can get it. So one way would be organ meat. These are a type of animal product, but they are extremely high in these types of nutrients. So if we can add something like liver in even once a week, that is going to equip your body with so many resources to do detox at a significantly increased rate. We're also going to get a bunch of trace minerals, so things like copper and zinc, and even the trace minerals like molybdenum and vanadium. And we're going to come to those in a minute, but they can be really, really helpful to have a whole food animal source. So liver, organ meats, really, really helpful. Another thing that is profoundly helpful is juicing. Juicing of anything, even if you have food sensitivities and you can only tolerate one vegetable, if you juice that one vegetable, it's going to give you 80% of the benefits that you can get from juicing. Juicing provides your body with a whole bunch of different minerals. Electrolytes are so important for detoxification. Juicing is the best way to get potassium and magnesium, which are two of the most important electrolytes that we need for detoxification processes. Potassium especially, very, very hard to get unless you are like laser focused on making sure that you're getting enough. Another really good addition for potassium specifically can be coconut. But juicing in general not only provides a lot of these minerals, it provides a lot of these B complex vitamins. It won't give you vitamin B12, but it'll give you B1, B2, B9. On top of that, you'll also get some vitamin K1, you'll get some vitamin C, you'll get some pre-vitamin A, so these carotenoids. You'll also get a lot of vitamin A if you do eat the liver. And on top of this, because we're juicing, we get a lot of polyphenols. These polyphenols are extremely helpful in not only to provide antioxidant benefits and to bind to specific toxins, but they also help to encourage proliferation of healthy bacteria in the gut. And our gut bacteria play a really important part in detoxification. That's not the angle that we're taking today. I've got plenty of other videos talking about that. Today we're talking more about the nutritive side of how do we support detoxification, but your gut is also really, really, really important in detoxification. So far we've got the animal products providing these protein building blocks. We've got organ meats and juicing covering our vitamins. This basically covers all of the vitamins that you really need. If you just animal products, did juicing, and consumed liver, this covers all of these bases. The next things that can be really helpful are to try to bump these things up a little bit more and also provide some trace mineral support. So from here, I'd look at layering in a nice B complex supplement. There's a lot of good options, but what you'd be looking for would be a methylated B complex, and you just start on a really small dose and increase that dose gradually over time. You could start on 1/10 of a capsule and build it up if you're very sensitive. If you are an over-methylator or you find yourself, you don't really tolerate B complexes very well, then please take a look at this other video that I will put on the screen somewhere or down below as to how to introduce methyl donors if you are someone that needs methyl donors and you're sensitive to methyl donors. So you have these over-methylation genes like COMT and MAOA. And from here, we would then want to try to cover the trace minerals. So these are really important nutritive elements that usually you could get from food, but they're very much depleted in our food supply. This would be things like iodine, selenium, zinc, copper, chromium, vanadium, these really small trace minerals, molybdenum. These are all really, really important in the detoxification process. So we could look at layering in a nice trace mineral product. From here, we basically covered every single nutritive aspect other than calories. And it is worth looking at calories because very often someone will come to work with me and they're taking these products. They're taking a B complex, they're taking the trace minerals. They're eating a very clean diet that does provide a lot of nutrients. But then I look at how much they're eating in total and they're eating like 1,400 calories a day. And at this point, it's not the nutrients, it's not the trace minerals that are stopping your body from detoxing. It's that it doesn't have enough raw ingredients in the form of calories. It just doesn't have enough caloric energy to be able to do this. And the thing is, detox is really expensive. It costs a lot of calories for your body to be able to detoxify. So we have to make sure that we do have a slight calorie surplus so that the body can allocate this surplus into the detoxification process. So if you don't know what that would look like for you, I would say at an absolute minimum, regardless of whether you're male, female, whether you're tall, short, how old you are, I would aim for a minimum of 2,200 calories a day, an absolute minimum. If you are a tall man and you're athletic and you're working out and you're training and you're more on the higher end of what caloric intake you might be looking at, I find that this is usually between 3,500 and 3,800 calories a day. And I know that sounds like a lot, but if you want your body to detox, it needs a lot of resources. So just to summarize from today's video, we need to make sure we cover the protein amino acid side of things. We need to make sure we provide a lot of these vitamins and minerals, and we can do this with organ meats. I would even include egg yolks as being like an organ meat. We get lots of beneficial detox nutrients in egg yolks. We can have juicing. Even if you only tolerate one vegetable, just juice that one vegetable. That would give you all of the detox support that you need. And then we can layer in a B complex and a trace mineral. If we provide the body with all of these nutritional supports and then boost the calories just a little bit, the body will have everything that it needs to detox of its own accord. And once you've reached this point, then you can add all of these extra detox modalities. You can add fasting, you can add saunas, you can add coffee enemas, and you will find that you get 10 times more benefit from doing these modalities after the body is hypernourished, because all of these modalities are stimulating the body to do these detoxification processes at a higher rate. But it can't do that if it doesn't have the raw resources and ingredients that it needs. So if you feel like you want somebody to take a look at your current protocol and adjust it to make sure that you are covering all of these bases, and this sounds a little bit overwhelming, you just want someone to help you figure out how to do it, please do feel free to shoot me an email, support@williamdickinson.co.uk, and we can look at arranging a consultation where I can take a look at everything you've got going on and we can dial it in together one-on-one. If you've got any questions about this, please do feel free to leave me a comment below. And if you've had any experience with this, maybe you've done detox before and then you worked on a hypernourishment protocol and you've built your reserves up and you saw that the detox was that much more powerful, please do leave me a comment below. I'd really love to hear about your experience with detoxification and how, if any of this is something that you've explored yourself as well. And if you have managed to find a supplement that had this nutritive element, maybe it was molybdenum, maybe it was something like NAC, N-acetylcysteine, whatever it was that enhanced your detox and you really felt it and you felt like your body was detoxing really, really fast and a much improved rate, please leave me that as a comment below. It'd be really interesting for me, and it might be the little missing piece of information that somebody else that's watching this video might need to level up their health protocol into the next level. So make sure you let me know, because you never know who you might help. And that's everything for me today. Hope you've enjoyed it. I found it really interesting and helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.